zone. Jalen, what did you think of the Super Bowl champions' big win last night against the Raiders?
Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, they're just playing chess when everybody else playing checkers, Jacoby. Like, did Patrick Mahomes ever seem rushed or pressed? You know, they got the cheetah catching double-figure balls. They just dumping it down to him when they need to. Travis Kelce wide open in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. Still the best tight end in the game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was still running out of the backfield. Like, they're explosive. I want to give the Raiders a lot of credit for the way they've played against them both times this season. But the Chiefs are still, for me, head and shoulders the best team in the NFL, even though the Pittsburgh Steelers are the only undefeated squad remaining.
They really did look like the best team in football last night, and they made it look easy, as you said. Was there any doubt that Patrick Mahomes was going to take them down and score a touchdown? Like, when he got the ball and he had 75 yards to go, you knew exactly what he was going to do. He was 6 for 7 on the drive. You mentioned Edwards-Helaire. He had a good game. First time he had more than one rushing touchdown a game. He had 2. It was just a really solid performance from them. And Derek Carr played well. The Raiders do give the Chiefs problems, but they didn't help themselves. They had a couple drops, which were big for them, especially the fullback Ingold. He dropped a couple big ones. Aguilar, Philadelphia fans remember that he doesn't always hold on to the ball when it's in the air. But again, it goes back to the Kansas City Chiefs being the best team in football, and they avenged this one loss they had this season to the Raiders and reestablished themselves as the team to beat, not just in the AFC, but in the entire league. I want to give a big shout to Darren Waller, who played really well. Love what Darren Waller's doing for the Raiders, but something tells me that they're not going to be too much problems for the Chiefs moving forward in the rest of this season. Jalen, what do you think about the Raiders?
Can I give a big shout during the holiday season also? You kind of alluded to it. I'm glad Nelson Aguilar got a chance to go to the Raiders and kind of reinvent himself. But during this holiday season, I just want to thank the guy that was catching babies in Philadelphia out of the window. You know, I want to thank that guy. How about that, Jacob? I want to give thanks for him. And in that moment, he thought about his Eagles. You know, that's really impressive. But in all honesty, you're right, Waller, he that dude, man. He that dude. And watching him and Kelce go at it, that is going to be something special over the next few seasons.
Absolutely. There's also another game between two big teams, and that was the Colts against the Packers. You remember I predicted the Colts would win, and they did. They got a little help on this play here where Valdez-Scantling, just Valdez-Scantling in overtime in his own territory, doesn't have the ball in the appropriate hand, had it in his right hand instead of his left hand. That turnover led to a game-winning field goal you will see right here, which led to the Colts winning in overtime. Jalen, we've talked about it. They don't do it impressively, but they win games. The Colts have beaten the Titans last week, the Packers this week. They gave up 0 points in the second half to the Titans last week. They gave up 3 points to the Packers in the second half this week. What do you think about the Colts?
You got to get a coach credit. And you know I lived there for 6 years, and Tony Dungy was their coach, and the Sheriff Peyton Manning was their QB. And to see them reinvent themselves with Phillip Rivers has been crazy. It's not like they throwing the ball all over the lot to T.Y. Hilton. They use multiple backs out of the backfield. But how many holding penalties can one team get, Jacoby? Like, seriously. Taylor ran the ball, seemed like 4 or 5 times. They got a holding penalty almost every time. They're trying to give the game away. Is that normal? Is that normal? I thought I was watching Benny Hill or the Three Stooges. Oh, like, seriously, how many holding penalties can one squad get within a 2-minute ratio? Is that a record? That has to be a record. So big shout to them for hanging on, but Packers had those couple of costly turnovers. And I got to say one more thing about the Packers. And I like how Williams has emerged out of the backfield and he gives them a great change of pace. But, dog, why don't they feed Adams and Aaron Jones? That's what I was thinking. Seriously, like they have a legit big three. I think Aaron Jones only ran the ball 10 times. And they target Adams 8 times. They should be feeding them like a Wu-Tang album and feeding them and feeding them and feeding them. They got Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback, dog. Don't get too cute, Green Bay. We know that you got some holes defensively, but those two guys should be getting fed.
Absolutely, and the Colts have no holes defensively. They have looked like one of the best defenses, not just by the eye test, but also by the numbers. When you look at their numbers, they create turnovers. They don't give up yards. They don't give up points. They're led by Darius Leonard, who does a great job for them as well. They do a really good job. Big shout to the Colts, who seem to be one of the teams in the AFC that you don't want to play in the playoffs. Moving on to the Taysom Hill experiment. Jalen, they announced that Taysom Hill was going to play quarterback. Me and you watched the games together, and we're just staring at the screen like, is it really going to happen? Is it really going to happen? Is Taysom Hill going to actually play quarterback for the Saints? And he did, and he didn't look bad. He kind of settled in. He seemed like he targeted Michael Thomas every single time he dropped back. What do you think about the Taysom Hill experience in New Orleans?
I'm happy that he got his first win. And in an era of quarterbacks that are just as impressive running the ball a lot of times as they are throwing the ball, it was good to see him get his opportunity. Pretty sure fantasy owners were happy to have a quarterback that also lined up and basically you could get points as a tight end. But here's what I'll say. How about Michael Thomas? He basically had the same productivity yesterday, Jacoby, that he had the entire season.
Wow.
The entire season. Receptions and yards. Going into this game, he signed a major deal this offseason. He broke an NFL record in catches last year. Don't you find it a bit, I guess, odd that he can catch as many balls from Taysom Hill as he caught from Drew Brees all season? So that's got to be something that they got to clearly get ironed out moving forward. But Alvin Kamara, he's just consistent. Scored another touchdown, always finds a way to get into the end zone.
Absolutely. And we also have to give a salute to the Saints defense that was in the backfield of the Falcons all day long. Cam Jordan had 3 sacks. They had 8 sacks as a unit. It was a really, really good performance from the New Orleans Saints. And I'm just shocked. Are they going to keep going with Taysom Hill? Are they going to keep going with Taysom Hill?
You love
I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching. I'll tell you that much. Jalen, we have to talk.
Uh-oh.
I was watching the games with you yesterday, and we had an eye on one game, and it was the Detroit Lions against the Carolina Panthers, and you were watching that screen. You just watching that screen intently, and it's an emotionally abusive relationship that you have with this team. They scored 0 points in the football game, Jalen. 0 points. They didn't score a point. A point.
Dog, but how about late in the game when we were losing and they were going hard count and it was 4th and 5 and we jump off sides and that didn't even get them the first down. It was 4th and inches. They did a hard count and we jumped off sides again, dog. I can't make this up, dog. I cannot make this up, dog. We're the only team in the NFL that did not score yesterday, dog. Dog, we have a veteran quarterback. It seems like 95% of his passes are 5 yards or less. They started somebody in the NFL for the first time, and props to him. It was great to see him get his opportunity through 2 interceptions. But can we compare Walker to Matthew Stafford, please? Is there a way to compare these 2 quarterbacks?
Oh, okay. Yes, we can.
So there are going to be times when people talk to me about what we should do in the draft. And like I told you, it's not that Matthew Stafford isn't a really good veteran quarterback, Jacoby, but we should be paying our quarterback $760,000, not $15.5 million if we're going to score 0 points on Sunday. Oh my goodness, Jacoby.
We were watching the game at the end when they lined up for that sympathy field goal just to get a number up on the scoreboard. It just goes left. Not even
and we
close
had a great
close.
double reverse pass to Marvin Jones. He catches it in the end zone. False start.
Yep. Call it
False
back.
start.
Call it back. Oh, that was hilarious. From a team that literally didn't score a point to a team that recently won the championship, and I'm talking about the Los Angeles Lakers. They did some retooling of the roster and some upgrades. What do you think about the additions that the Lakers put together? Take a look.
Hey man, I'm telling y'all something. With the Lakers, Rob Pelinka, LeBron James, Anthony Davis and Rich Paul is doing to this league, shout to Jeannie Buss. It ain't fair, dog. It is not fair. LeBron James is coming for 6 championships. I know a lot of people tired of having that who's the GOAT argument, and he's sitting at 4 right now. But the Lakers are doing an amazing job of stacking the deck. They're really doing it. They added Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder in the same offseason. You do know that those are the top 2 people for 6 man in a year, along with Lou Williams, right?
Yep.
And they still have Anthony Davis, right? They added Marc Gasol. Just so when they play against the Joker or they go against another big guy, they have another big body. They still have 6 fouls. They add Wesley Matthews, a seasoned veteran. His dad won championships playing with Magic in the Lakers. Hey, man, I'm trying to tell you something. I like that many teams in the Western Conference have all NBA talented players that they can build around. So the Kings, they can sign Fox. Shout to the